Welcome to another basic tutorial video on a casino game. Hi, my name is Jack and I'm coming to you with this basic tutorial for all viewers here at cruisecasinoadvisor.com. And today we're going to talk about one of the best games in the casino. It's a European game called Baccarat. Baccarat is not one of the most exciting games to play, but believe it or not, it's one of the best games in terms of odds that anyone can learn and play very, very quickly. All right, let's get down to it. By the way, you will see Baccarat on most of your cruise ships throughout the world. So this is a game that you can play on your next cruise. It's very, very easy to learn because there's not a lot of decisions to make. And if you've watched any of our other videos, you'll know that if you're playing roulette or blackjack or craps, you have lots of different opportunities. There's lots of decisions to make as to where you're going to bet. Well, Baccarat is nice and easy. There's only 3 bets that can be made in Baccarat. And let's take a look at them right now. So what you're seeing on the screen is a basic Baccarat setup. So sometimes you'll see this set up a little differently, but what you'll notice is that there's only 3 different bets that can be made: tie, banker, and player. For our purposes, we never bet on tie. Okay, there are top players that bet on a tie happening, but we never bet on tie. We only bet on banker or player. So what does that actually mean? So let's take a little example here, and that's probably going to be the easiest way for us to describe this. Let's just put $5 on banker, and let's click the deal button. All right, so we're only making this decision. And what you're going to notice is that the dealer is the one that's throwing out the cards. We are not making a decision, okay? It's not like blackjack where we're deciding whether to take another card. The only decision we make in Baccarat is where we're betting. The actual rules dictate how many cards the player hand gets and the banker hand gets. We are not making that decision. We're only making the decision as to how much to bet and which one of the 2 to bet on, banker or player. The actual dealer takes care of everything else for us. Now, you'll notice in this first hand, okay, I think we bet on banker. We lost because the player won. The object of Baccarat is very simple. It's the closest hand to 9 is the winner. It's the closest hand to 9. So here, a 4 and a 5 is what we call a natural 9, which means that in the first 2 cards, the player got a 9. Here, the banker had an 8. So the player just edged out the banker. All right. Now, you may take a look here and say, well, this is 18. This is not 8. Face cards and 10s are 0 in this game. Face cards and 10s equal 0. So this is an 8 and this is a 9. So let's go ahead and do it again. All right, this time we're going to bet again on banker. So we're going to bet on banker, and we're going to then allow the dealer to deal out the hand. So there's a 9. There's a queen, which is a 0. Second card is a king, which is a 0. So this is a natural 9, which is very difficult to beat unless the banker also gets a 9. They get a 6. Okay, so the player wins again. So you see it's a natural 9 versus 6. Okay, and we did not have to make any decisions. Now, let's talk about how many cards each hand gets. Now, we're not going to go into detail because it gets a little bit confusing, but you can look on the internet and you can put in Baccarat rules. And what you'll find out is that based on the 2 cards that come out, the player will be able to get a 3rd card. Based on the 2 cards that come out, the banker may be able to get a 3rd card. But the rules are different for when a player can get a 3rd card and when a banker can get a 3rd card. And the reason for that is very simple. The banker hand has the house edge. This is the slight edge that the casino has in the game of Baccarat. So a player may not be able to get a chance at a third card, but the banker will based on the first two cards. So let's go ahead and do this once again. Let's bet on banker again. Let's deal. So there's a 0 because it's a 10. There's a 2 for the banker. Let's deal the second card. There's a 5. So the player now has a total of 5. The banker has a 2. Okay, and now we have a 3. Okay, so the ace is 1, so we have a 3. So we get another. The banker gets an additional card. Well, the player gets an additional card first due to the 5. Unfortunately, that gives us a 0 because it's a 10 and a 10, which brings us to 0. The banker ends up making a 6. So the banker wins and we win. We win even money on the player hand. So if we bet $10, we win 10. But when we bet on the banker, if we win on the banker like we did there, we actually do not get exactly $5. There is due to the house edge, it's called commission. So the banker gives up 5% of what they would have won. So if we had, whatever the 5% is what they keep as commission. So let's do another hand. Let's do a player this time. Let's bet on player. We have a 5. We have a 5. So far we're even. Uh-oh, we got another 5 on the player hand, which gives us a 10, which is actually 0, right? Because it went over the 9. The highest we can have is a 9. Let's see what the banker gets. The banker gets a natural 9, and the player loses, okay? The player does not get a chance at another card here. That's based on the rules that we talked about, that you can look up when does a player get a third card and when does a banker get a third card. In this case, it's a natural 9, so there's no way the player's getting another card. So let's do another example. Let's bet on banker this time. We have a 5 and we have a 0. We have another 5, so we have 2 zeros. So the player gets a 0. There's an 8. Okay, so the player gets an 8. So most likely the player is now way ahead and the player should win. But let's see what the banker gets for a third card. Oh, wow. That's incredible. The banker did get a 9. So it's a 9 over an 8. That's pretty crazy. And the banker eked out the win 9 over an 8. Let's try it one more time. So let's put $5 on player. And we have a 0, and we have another 0. We have an 8. That's a natural 8. It's a 2-card 8. The banker gets a 0, and the player wins. Okay, so let's review for a minute. The only thing you're deciding here is whether you're betting on banker or player. Okay, we don't bet on ties. You could bet on a tie, and a tie pays 8-1, but we do not recommend ever betting on a tie. Now, let's go back to one of the most important things in the game. So let's click on history. Okay, so basically what you're seeing here is the scoreboard. This is usually seen in the casino as an electronic scoreboard. It's very, very important for you to understand this because most of the ways that people play are based on what you're seeing here. It's based on what came out before and what you believe is coming out next. You're trying to predict what the next hand is going to be, a banker or a player. So let's just show you how to review and how to read this. So this is the basic main area scorecard right here. So the first result, as you can tell, that we saw was a player. And that's this blue circle here in this first spot. Well, the second result was also a player. So when the result is exactly the same as the result prior to it, it goes down the column instead of to the right. So that means there were 2 players in a row. And the third hand, it shifted to becoming a banker. So that goes to the right and you see the red. And the next 2 hands after that, since it went down, were also banker hands. So there's 3 bankers in a row before our the next result was back to player, and that goes to the right. So if we played another hand and another player came out, it would be below it. Okay, so what you're seeing here is This is a streak of 2 bankers in a row, followed by a streak of 2 players in a row, followed by a streak of 3 bankers in a row, and now a player. We don't know what's going to happen next, but this has been fairly streaky. So do we think that another player is going to happen? Or do we think it's going to become choppy and it go banker, player, banker, player, banker, player, banker, player? Or is it going to continue to be more of a streak where we have more than 2 in a row? So that's how you read the scoreboard, okay? Now, let me show you a little bit more of an advanced method while we're here. This is called the bead plate. It's showing the exact same results that you see here, but in a different format. These are columns of 6. And when you look at the bead plate, it doesn't matter whether it's a player or a banker. We fill down, so all 6 come down, and then we start here, and the next 6, and the next 6. So this is a different visualization of the same result. So what do we see here? We see 2 players, just like we saw here, 2 blues. Then we had 3 bankers in a row, and then we finished this first column with another player, okay? So the first column was even 3 players and 3 bankers, and now we're going to start column number 2. Hint, hint. Some of our advanced strategies that we use this bead plate to determine which one we're going to bet on, banker or player. And I guess this is the best time as ever to talk about that. So let's go back to our deal. Okay. So now let's talk about what we've learned. We know that Baccarat is a simple game where we're going to bet banker or player depending on what we think is going to happen next. We make absolutely no decisions on the card since the dealer is going to be doing that. Now, with Baccarat, it's one of the best games in the casino if you're looking to turn the casino into your own personal ATM. The game of Baccarat has the best odds for the player in the entire casino. This is one of the best games. Therefore, if you visit our sister website, cruisecasinomafia.com, you can gain access to the pro systems that we use on a regular basis. Our team members play Baccarat at sea, on cruise ships, on land in casinos, as well as online on the internet on a daily basis. We turn the Baccarat game into an opportunity to gain consistent profits on a regular basis. So when visiting our sister website, cruisecasinomafia.com, you can learn how to gain access right now to the Casino Vault. The vault contains the exact systems and methods that we use to make money on a consistent basis, whether it's in Baccarat, roulette, craps, or blackjack. But this is one of our favorite games to play if we're looking to turn the tables and make money at every session we play using the game of Baccarat as an investment vehicle. Of course, we cannot guarantee that your results will be exactly the same as ours or that you can win every time. But the long-term results using our systems are fantastic. So if you want to learn more as to how our pro team plays the game of Baccarat or any casino game before going on your next cruise, visit us and learn more at cruisecasinomafia.com. Be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, like the video, and make sure that you sign up for our newsletter on the website that you saw this video, which is our home website, cruisecasinoadvisor.com, for free tips and tricks. We hope to see you on the next cruise ship and play next to you. And we also hope that you join the family here at cruisecasinomafia.com. Have a great day. It's great to be lucky, but it's better to be smart. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.